Very dear friends, we are honored at Heartfulness Kanha Santivanam having you amongst us. It's a rare and privileged opportunity, and especially when UNESCO has come forward with this brilliant idea of the topic kindness. Few months back, when UNESCO representative Sri Anand Doraisamy came here, he broached this topic in a very subtle way. He sown the seeds of kindness conference at Kana. And who among the best other than the youth can be part of it? So we are very happy to have you all here. Kindness, we hear so often. We expect kindness from others, but somehow we lack this resonance, extending the similar kindness from our side. We forget the main person, the self. We are also lost in so many things that to be kind is not my responsibility. God is there to look after everyone. Why should I interfere in His work? But these are foolish arguments. If God was going to do everything for us, then why don't I stop eating? Why don't I stop going to college? Why do I educate myself? Why do I exercise? Why do I entertain myself on my own volition? If God was to do everything for me. So no. Expecting something from the higher is a great blunder and the biggest excuse one can have. You fail in exams? Oh, God failed me. No. You failed yourself. Some people, they're very cruel and they say, oh, my father was not nice to me, or my professor was very strict with us. He's always failing the students. That is again an excuse. I like to share one encounter I had recently with the PhD students in Hyderabad. And one of the guides of the students, they say how to remove the stress, especially the exam stress, from the minds of students. Well, the professor was a lady and she was very compassionate and kind towards the students. That's why such a question came in her heart. Then how to remove stress? Can meditation help? I say, certainly meditation can help. But is that what you want? Removing the stress from students? Let them have a lot of stress. Otherwise, they will not study. If you really want to help your students, prepare them from way ahead, from the first day of college. Prepare them so well that they don't have stress. It is like vaccination. Once the COVID starts and say, now I'm going to use vaccination, no, it's going to make it worse. Once the disease is contracted, vaccine will not work. Similar is the case. Stress has started and you want to whitewash it with meditation. It will harm you more than doing you any good. So preparing oneself ahead of time is being kind to yourself. See, kindness can be extended in many ways. kindness towards oneself, kindness towards others, in the families, in the community, and kindness towards Prakriti, towards nature. Does my heart move when I see a dog limping away on a road? When I see a dog where I can count how many ribs this dog has, that means it's so much of malnutrition is there. When someone is cutting a tree, do I fail in my duties in some way? What can I do to stop this? So kindness has a long role to play, and especially with oneself. Be kind to yourself. Many people say that. That means accept your strength as well as your weaknesses. But there too, it's a catch-22 situation, accepting your weaknesses. I have to get up early in the morning at 6 perhaps, do some exercise and study, but I accept my weaknesses. What will happen? Oh, I'm so kind to myself. I need to sleep a little more. That's not kindness, that is fooling yourself. I'd like to share with you one really scientific experiment that was done by Hal Hertzfeld. It's a psychology experiment. His experiment was very simple. He selected 20 subjects, control as well as experimental. What he did was very special. In his experiment, 20 subjects in the experiment and 20 were kind of placebo type, who were shown their aging self. The experimental self was shown the aging self. There are many apps which fast forwards your aging, how you would look when you are 80 or when you are 90. You must have seen that app, right? But this Hal Hertzfeld, he developed a very refined version of it, where you can even see your wrinkles and white hair and splitting hair also, and especially for males, how the hair recedes back and you become so bald. So the first group of 20 is the experimental ones. He showed this particular video of their old age. And the other 20 subject placebo just shown them their own young self. That's all he did. Afterward, he said, look, I'm going to give you $5,000 each. It's all of you. Tell me what you will do, whether you will put it as a fixed deposit in the bank, or would you invest in something, or would you keep it for your retirement fund, or would you have party? Strikingly enough, intentional showing of the old age. Those 20 subjects in that experiment, most of them selected that I would double up my investment on retirement. So somebody need to show you the way how to be kind to yourself. That how will I be when I grow old? That is also a thought, expressing kindness towards yourself, preparing yourself ahead of time. So all these exams things that we worry about, it's a foolishness. Most students who are successful later in life, they don't worry at all. Whether it's an interview for a job or interview for some placement somewhere, or interview for your PhD thesis or master's thesis, they don't worry because they are well prepared. This is what we need. We must understand our limits and our understanding and prepare ourselves accordingly. Be kind to yourself. I often wondered about what is the difference between kindness that the world is talking about today and the compassion. Where is the root of sympathy, empathy, compassion, kindness? What is the difference? How compassion differs from passion, for example. All these, to me, are different forms of energies. Something like when a plant is there, a seed is sown. It grows, it becomes a flower, becomes a fruit. And fruit is edible, many people enjoy it. All these steps, these are all energies which are being transformed little by little, little by little. When you have a sympathetic heart, you're automatically going to become empathetic. Empathetic means putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and see how they would be feeling if you utter certain words. If you insult your mother or insult your father, how they would feel. Run it through in your mind before you speak out. That is empathy. If you have a highly elevated level of consciousness, then you would prepare yourself ahead of time before you open your mouth. Premeditation. When sympathy matures, when this energy is further purified, you become compassionate. Compassionate is a quality of your heart. But is it enough to be compassionate? You see a sick person, your heart melts. I feel so sad for this person's sickness. Is it enough? Or are you going to do something about it? Doing something about it after feeling compassion is kindness. To me, the kindness is nothing but compassion in action. Put it very simply. Gandhiji's philosophy was great. He advocated the philosophy of non-violence. But when we are talking these days of compassion and kindness, it surpasses Gandhian non-violence philosophy. Because what happens in being non-violent, that you will not hurt other person. Okay, the other person is sick. I will not hurt this person. Is it enough? But compassion is far better than non-violence, where your heart is going beyond hurting someone into helping someone. You are taking actions in your hands and doing something about solving the problem with your family or in your community. If our country has to grow, if our globe, our Mother Earth, has to grow to a next level, then we'll have to take personal responsibility in our hands to do certain things on our own. Governments all across are doing their best. They have their own interests. And it's okay. But government alone cannot fulfill everything. Just as my father and my mother, however loving they may be, they cannot do everything for me. I have to study, I have to prepare myself, I have to exercise, and if possible, help them as well. It's a mutual thing. It is too bad that in our country we are too dependent. In a way, we blame government for every little thing that goes wrong. Our youth must not become important. They must become varia, meaning bold and courageous, and do something positive for the nation. How to do it? Many youth are misguided in many ways. Only question I request you to ask yourself, fast forward your life and think for a moment that you are 80 years of age and see the answer that comes out from your heart, and follow your heart. Following the heart is not that easy. Often we are on the crossroads, especially when you are getting a job, or whether I should transit from my job to a business, or whom to marry. I have 3 girlfriends and I can't make up my mind whom to marry. My heart says something, my mind says something. Whom to marry? I like to listen to my heart, but my mind is louder. So revisit yourself that whenever you have made a decision in a rush, when your mind has pushed you around, what sort of results or what was the outcome of making a decision when you were strongly believing in your logic, in your mind. But all the decisions that you have made in your previous processes of making decisions, where you listen to your heart, did you ever go wrong when you made a decision with your heart? Figure it out. So you have that answer. Always listen to your heart, even when there is a temporary loss. See the brighter future ahead and then make a decision. All these energies we talk about, energy of empathy, sympathy, compassion, result into actions in kindness. Many people talk about, especially I am so proud of our Telangana state in many ways. Many states talk about serving the water to needy. Recently I was in Maharashtra, I was in Madhya Pradesh, traveling by car, villages after villages. And I see women, children standing in a line with mud pots, miles away from their homes, trying to fetch water either from the well or from the rivers. It's a sad thing. The first state in India, Telangana, where you see certain kindness towards its own citizens. Every house has water. Similarly, the land reformation, how to make the land more fertile, these initiatives are also being taken. I don't know how many of you are from villages. Can you raise your hands, please, from villages and who has some amount of land? Lovely. Thank you. I like to give you a small solution. Whenever you have your first child, I know most of you are not married, but whenever you have your first child, on 1 acre of your land, plant 400 sandalwood trees. How many? 400 sandalwood trees for your first child. When you have a second child, another 400 sandalwood trees. Why am I saying this? Because on the 15th year, these 400 trees will bring you. Can someone tell me how much money you will get? One tree will bring 15 lakhs at current market price. So 10 will be how much? 50 lakhs. And 400 would be 20 crores. And if you had 1,000, and planting is not so difficult. What will become difficult later on is protecting it, because you are throwing 20 crores right outside your house and somebody is going to take it. So theft is a problem but with modern technologies, you can insert at certain age of the tree what they call tracking chip. You all are smart with all these things. When you want to track your boyfriend or girlfriend, what do? They put a tracking chip in the bag, no? So you can do the tracking of the sandalwood tree. And I have done some research also on another tree I talk about to you. Even if you plant just 10 trees, it will be much more than hundreds of crores from 10 trees. It is called the most expensive tree in the world. 1 kilo of that wood will be 8,000 euros, which means it's almost 8 lakhs. 1 kilo. And that tree is almost a ton. Means 1,000 kilos. So my dear friends, there are some ideas I like to share with you. You have a very bright future. Plant lot of trees. Our state Telangana also prides. This is the only state where the awards are given to villages who does the maximum greenery. But I'm not looking forward to just the greenery. I would like to see medicinal plants grow, how it can change the economy of each village. You can go to your respective villages. There are a lot of lands available in villages by the pond side, by the government Gochar Bhumi, which is not cultivated by this temple bhumis or the Gochar Bhumis. On an average, they have 10 to 15 acres of such lands. On 1 acre, when you have 400 trees, on 10 acres, you'll have 4,000. That village will get 200 crores of rupees in 15 years. Villages then can share that money among themselves. Our country can change for better. Our forests are not for the rest of forest officers. We need to change our trend of growing the forests. We must make this forest greener with varieties and varieties of trees. Unfortunately, some of the forests I have visited in many of our states in India, they have nothing except eucalyptus and some lousy trees, because all the good trees have been sold or stolen by people. Especially, I don't want to name names, but you know what I'm talking about. Responsible people, they do the thieving. and we are shortchanged because of that. Our country can become another Switzerland, better than Switzerland. We'll talk about it, how we can make our country better than Switzerland tomorrow.